Hey everybody, it's Matthew of Mr. Domestic, where we spread joy and positivity through sewing and fabric play. Yay! So this video is going to be like an appendix to my first jelly roll rug tutorial. As I was posting this recent jelly roll rug, since I was doing it a little differently, people were asking if I was going to do another video. Well, more than asking, they were writing comments. I can't wait for the video. And at first I was like, no, I don't have anything to add. But now that I'm done and I've done it differently, I definitely learned some more tips and tricks that I want to pass on to you. So if this is your first entry into the jelly roll rug, I highly suggest you watching my first video, and the cards are up there. I'll card above that you should watch that in full before coming to this one, because you might not understand some of the things. But if you've watched it, if you've tried it, if you've put that project to the side and you're like, I don't want to do it, then this video is for you. So before we get into the content, anytime you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So the jelly roll rug. This one, by the guidance of Hobbs Batting, Stephanie from Hobbs Batting, she offered to send me some of her fusible 100% cotton batting. What? First of all, mind blown. There's fusible batting. Did not know about that. And she said that someone that she knew had done a jelly roll rug with it, and instead of cutting the strips 2.5 inch wide to match the jelly roll, that they cut it 2.25 inches wide. So I am paying it forward to you. It made all of the difference. Just that 1/4 inch made it a lot easier to sew, and it made it a lot easier to put the coil together. So highly encourage that. And honestly, it didn't really take that much time to cut my own batting. In my head, I was so convenient to have the pre-rolled cut batting, but really it didn't take that much time. And then ironing it, like, okay, fusing it to the jelly roll was insane. So one other tip. As I fused the jelly roll that was all joined together onto the batting, I rolled it up on a duct tape roll, and I just used part of the duct tape to roll it, and I continued rolling it. And then I had that next to my sewing machine, and since I did everything in 12-inch segments, like as I folded and sewed that, what's it called? I don't know what to call it. Like, it's not a tube. I guess let's call it a tube. That as I was sewing that, I just unrolled it 12 inches, sewed that, unrolled it, and it became fluid. I had thought about getting a Lazy Susan just to let it roll naturally, but I wasn't gonna go shopping for that just to make a jelly roll rug. But if you have a large Lazy Susan, I still use a denim needle. I still used Wonderfill Ultimate Poly Thread. I made sure that I had 4 or 5 bobbins prepped with the same thread, and I still chain pieced whenever I was joining the strips, and I still folded as I went, and I sewed into the thing that's in the ball, and I'll show you that now so you know what I'm talking about. So all of those were the same. What was different was, one, how I positioned my hands as I was sewing. And this is regardless of whether you use the new batting that I just used or the pre-cut rolls. That my first video, I was very extra in it, and admitted that I was doing a lot of the horse and the neigh, and I definitely still did that. But I was doing way too much horse in the beginning, and I started to make a bowl. I think it might have been because I just did some rope bowls, but it was making a bowl instead of making it flat. And that like light bulb in my head to where I was like, oh, it's kind of like crochet because I just started crocheting. It has to be the right tension. So essentially what you're sewing, and I'll show you now, it needs to be at the same tension as what you've already sewn. If it's too much tension, it's going to create a bowl. If it's too little tension, there's too much excess on the outside, then it's going to be wobbly. So to combat that, what I suggest, this is a tip number 4 or 5, that as you're sewing, every time your bobbin runs out, then I would suggest laying it flat on your floor to see what's going on. Because honestly, even though I had made this before and I felt like, oh, I'm an expert, that I made a bowl. I went really far, I made a bowl, had to rip it apart at least a couple times until I got to that epiphany and realized that it was all about tension. And this is how I held my hands. As you've been watching, very lightly, I used quilters gloves. If quilters gloves are new to you, I used quilters gloves. That made all of the difference. It made it very easy to maneuver, made it very easy to sew with because I was able to manage that necessary tension. One other thing, because I was too lazy, and a lot of you clearly are, to set up my sewing machine as instructed in the pattern. So to create a flat surface, because I have no idea where my extender is on my floor, I just put a box like right next to it to continue that flat surface. Made all of the difference, and it kept me from making a bowl. So let me see on my phone. I put my notes on my phone, then checked on the floor, tension, how I position my hands. The final thing, a lot of you had asked me about the first one. You were curious whether it was washable. I haven't washed the one that I made Helena, or Helena stole it from me. I haven't watched that one yet, but everyone swears that it is machine washable. So those are my new tips and tricks. I hope some of these helped you. I definitely probably saved like an hour's time using the fusible batting. It really made the whole experience more enjoyable. I definitely had a cuss-free sewing room as I was sewing it, and it was just a lot easier to do. If you got any tips out of this video, laughed at me or with me, enjoyed it, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Now get ready to make some jelly rolls! Keep it positive, y'all. Mr. Domestic out.